Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with a voiced over video for this cute little what I'm calling mask paper clips. So we're going to be using 2 large paper clips and then 2 small paper clips to make 4 different masked paper clips. So I do want to mention that I'm doing a voiceover because when I was talking through the original video, my external microphone is not consistently working ever since we put the computer and all of that back together after we redid the studio. So you're going to see a lot of talking hands. I'm going to try my best to make this as seamless as possible, so I hope that you'll bear with me as I do that. So we're going to create 2 with the larger paper clips and 2 with the smaller paper clips. We do have a little bit of an issue when we get to the small ones because they are very tiny. They only measure 1 inch, which I believe the other ones measure 2 inches or 1.5 inches. I'm not sure. I will grab the measurements and put them in the video description for you. And here I'm just showing you how you can embellish on the end, either side of the paper clip, with a dangle of some sort. The ones that I had there aren't going to match these pieces, but I just wanted to show you, just for the sake of demonstrating that you could kind of finesse them up by adding a dangle to the paper clip, either with a bull pin, a paper clip, or a jump ring. So you can kind of play around with that. So this piece is obviously way longer than we need, but I just wanted to make sure that they were the right width before I started the video. So basically what you want to do, and I'm just kind of flipping around just to get comfortable for myself here, and what we're going to do is go ahead and fold over that right side over the top of the paper clip so that it lines up with the other edge that is across from it there. And then we're going to fold it one more time, and again I'm going to flip this just for comfort. Oh, maybe I didn't do that. It was a rough go with the audio. It's really disappointing when that doesn't work. So I'm going to go ahead, I start to cut here and decided to go ahead and make a pencil mark just to give you a better demonstration of what you're looking for when you're putting these together. So I'm making the pencil line right where the edge of the paper clip is, and then when I cut it, I'm going to cut it on the inside of that pencil line, just by about, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch. And then we're going to go ahead and put the paper clip back in place. And you want the small side of the paper clip to come out. So that's what you see me doing there, just kind of fussing with that. It had been a while since I made these, so I had to kind of refresh myself as I went. So there are some parts that are a little bit rough, as you're going to see here in a little bit, but I will explain that when we get there. So I'm just using my art glitter glue to go ahead and close that up. We're going to slide it back on the paper clip again on the long side. And then you want the whatever side your fold is on, the overlap, you want that to be on the inside of the paper clip. So like that, you wouldn't want that to be on the outside. And so the other beautiful part about this is that, oh, a little bit of inking there. Sorry, forgot about that. So the magic of this project, though, is that we're going to also cover the short side of the paper clip by using a short or a not as wide of a piece of paper. So I'm going to show you how to do that here too. I did run into some problems a little bit later with the smaller paper clips because they only measure 1 inch and they were really fiddly, and I don't do fiddly things very well, especially not on camera. So I ended up second guessing myself and all of that, but again, I will talk about that here in a little bit. Just trimming that off because I don't want that to be hanging over. I want to basically be able to see that edge, and then we're folding that again. Same process as the outside, the piece that we put on the longer part of the paper clip, excuse me. I just was trying to show you that pencil line there. It's really hard when it's close up, and I don't usually bring my camera that close to my surface, but this was super small and a little bit tricky. So just going to put that on and wrap it around so that we can make sure, you want to make sure that it is on there nice and snug, but not so tight that it won't move, because basically what it is it's like a cover, and you want it to be able to move freely but not fall off. So there's kind of a balance there in that process. So I would encourage you, if you try this, to just kind of play around with it and until you get what you're looking for. Basically the goal is just to cover both the long part and the short part, what shows on the front of whatever you're paper clipping it to, and whatever shows on the back as well. So they're pretty nifty in my opinion. I've seen people do them. They're super elaborate, like really, really elaborate. Like people have like done stenciling on them and stuff. It's crazy. That's a little bit over the top for me. I'm not into that kind of detailed crafting. Not small like this anyway. So there, I was just applying a little bit of my art glitter glue on the edge just to glue that shut. I'm going to ink this one up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and slide that back on, and again the shorter one goes on the shorter part of the paper clip, and then the other one, and again you want those seams to be on the inside, and so that's what I'm doing there, just making sure that the seam on the larger one is going to go under the shorter piece. And I do apologize, I know some of this gets a little off camera. I don't usually, again, work that close, so it was having trouble keeping it in screen, and I was super focused as well, just trying to get it right. So I've got a piece of textile here from my scrap bin. I'm just going to put it on the front just to create a little bit of interest and layering on the top of the paper clip. And then we're going to put a word, and my words are pretty small, but I struggled with each of these paper clips getting them small enough to fit. So but you'll be able to see that here soon. The other thing that you want to decide while I ink this up, I'll talk about this, is that you want to decide what way you want your paper clip to go on. Do you want it to go on the right hand side of a page or on the left hand side of a page? Because that will determine what direction you put your quote or your word, because you wouldn't want it to be upside down, and if there was anything else directional you were putting on the paper clip, it would be important to make note of which direction you want the paper clip clipping onto your page. So I'm just looking at that here just to make sure that for my own mind's sake that I've got it going the direction that I think it needs to go to be on a right side page. Got a little flower here. We're going to go ahead and put that one on as well, just kind of towards the other end. And the little ball it came off, so I'm just gluing that back on. These are a great flower to use because they're small and they're low profile, so they're not going to add a lot of bulk. So there is our first one. It says "Be the Light." And so we're going to work on the one of these smaller paper clips, and I'm going to go ahead and set this one to music. I just will warn you ahead of time that I did struggle with this one because once I got the larger part wrapped around and then I started to work on getting the smaller part wrapped around, I got a little bit turned around, and I think it's just because I was second guessing myself, because it's challenging to work on something so little. And so I'm going to go ahead again, speed this up a little bit, and let you just watch me fuss through that. In the end, I was doing it correctly from the start, but I did go through a little bit of second guessing, and I don't want to necessarily draw you into that in terms of that verbally. But you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. I kind of take it apart, put it back together, start out, get a new piece of paper, and try it again. And in the end, I figure out that I had it right the first time. So that being said, it is the same process as the larger paper clip. It's just a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music for you. So this is the part that it gets a little bit tricky. I start off putting it in there right, but for some reason, I don't know if the paperclip might have been a little bit of a different formation, and maybe that was what was kind of throwing me, but I get this all wrapped on, and looking back, I know that it was right, but at the time, I just couldn't get past that barrier of feeling like it was not right. So I have had a lot of comments in my videos that people really like it when I leave the mistakes in. They say that it helps them know that it's okay to make mistakes and know that other people do as well. I create a lot and I still flub things up all the time. And so I think there is a real value in leaving those mistakes in so that you guys know that, we're all human and we're all doing the best that we can, and you can fix anything. So I'll let you go ahead and continue with the music. And here I'm just decided to go ahead and just start over. I needed to kind of satisfy that nagging feeling that I was not doing something correct. So, and this sometimes happens, and that's okay too. Don't feel like you're locked into wherever you are at in the process. You can change your mind. You can improvise on the project that you were doing or what your intended goal was, or you can just start over, which is what I did here. That inside part just wasn't feeling right to me, and so I just cut it off, or I pulled it apart eventually, and then just started over. And this was the aha moment where I knew when I did it again that I had done it correctly the first time. So please be encouraged. Don't be hard on yourself. Just go with it and know that in the end it works out and it will be beautiful, and it's your creation, and that is the part that counts, at least in my opinion. So, and you may notice there that I didn't do the pencil mark, and I just went ahead and trimmed it off at the edge. It should be just fine. If I need to come and fortify it with some glue, I can definitely do that. So there we go. So this one is all better. And so yeah, the small paper clips measure an inch. I don't have one in front of me while I'm doing the voiceover to measure for you. I'll try to do that here in the next few minutes and put it a little bit farther down the line here. But basically it's about twice the length, so it's probably a 2-inch paper clip is the larger one. Just trimming down that word a little bit. Again, the landscape for these small paper clips was really small, so it was super challenging to be able to get anything on the surface. But I don't want them to be plain. I mean, you could totally do them plain. That would be fine as well. But I definitely don't tend to leave things very plain. So I like the decorating and the embellishing part of the process very, very much. Using my Fabri-Tac because I am using lace, and that I find is the best glue for gluing any kind of textile or things that are a little bit more heavy in terms of sorry about that, in terms of the thickness of paper and that kind of thing. So just showing you kind of how I can kind of tell which end needs to go in the back. So because you're hiding the paper clip, it is a little bit more challenging to see. But do whatever it makes you feel good about your process. You could show more of the paper clips so that you didn't have to think so hard about that. But again, you can tailor this to whatever you choose. You could use, there's so many variations of this that one could do. So I encourage you to kind of explore. I was actually thinking about doing some with a larger paper clip and having kind of a cluster be on the top of it, like not on the top the landscape of the paperclip, but kind of going upwards. And I know that doesn't make very much sense, kind of horizontally, kind of above the paperclip. But we'll see. I might give that a try. So we're going to go ahead and do the second small paperclip one, which worked a lot better. But there's not a whole lot more that I need to say about the process. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the music on here as well and let you watch the process. Just putting a little word on the top of this one. I believe this one says joy. It was a little bit easier, a little bit of a shorter word, but on those small paper clips, it was super challenging. And you probably noticed I did look like I was struggling a little bit with getting that inside piece glued together. I was just concerned that if I let any glue seep through, that it was going to glue to the actual paper clip, and then I would have struggles with actually the paperclip being usable. So that's what you saw me doing there. And here I'm just talking about, again, the direction that you want that paperclip to hook onto your page would determine what direction you put your word, because you wouldn't want to like anticipate that it was going to go on a left side page because you had a plan or a home for it specifically, then put your word on wrong and the word would be upside down, and then you'd have to use it on a right side page. So that was kind of what I was fussing through there. So yeah, but it all works out in the end. It's no different. I mean, sometimes I make things that I intend to go on one side and I do them wrong and they end up not working there. So I just kind of roll with it. Again, I say often in my videos, perfection is not at play in my studio. It is a taboo, and I believe that perfection is a trap that actually keeps us from being able to be completely free in our creativity. So I work really hard at letting that go. So I hope that you're inspired to do that as well, because I don't like that feeling of a failure. Like, there is no failure in art. There is no failure. There's just learning and exploring and having fun. So this is the second large paperclip we're going to be doing. And so again, and I did want to mention that I did pull pieces from my stash that were lighter weight paper. I didn't use heavy thick cardstock. I used like 20-pound regular copy paper for my scraps, because you don't really want to bulk up the mechanism that makes the paperclip go on and off, is my thought. I imagine it would work, but I was just thinking it would be better to have a thinner paper. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and turn the music on and let you watch, and I will talk with you at the very end before we close out the video. There I was just talking about having those seams be on the inside so that you're not going to see them. They're going to look seamless. So that was just kind of what I was pausing and pointing out there with my talking fingers. So, and then that was a little bit uneven on the edge, so I was thinking about trying to slide that off, but I didn't want to take it all the way off the paper clip, so I just left it, embracing imperfection. Yeah, the world would not be fun if everything was perfect, right? If everyone was perfect, if we all did things the same, it would be so boring. So that's one of the ways I try to tweak my thinking about things being just right, is that I think life would be very boring and we would not have very many learning opportunities, right? So we're always growing and changing, and I love that. I love that part of doing arts and crafts and sharing with one another, and the inspiration that we get to give as well as receive. So I just inked this up. I can't remember what this one says. I don't have them in front of me at the moment. I'm just going to cut another bit of that lace, just the stringy part of that pink lace. I'm going to put that underneath my sentiment. You will be able to see all the details in the photos at the end of the video if you want to hang around and check that out. But we are coming to the end. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you like the content on my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I create, you can hit that notification bell and you will be notified when I do put a new video up. I try not to push that just because I feel like it can be really disengaging for people. So I don't do it very often. In fact, I haven't done it in a really long time. So I'm mentioning it here. Please subscribe if you like the content. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you're inspired above all else. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.